Hello adventurers and welcome back to my channel. Today I have something super exciting planned for us. Now a lot of times you guys ask me for free stuff, so this is definitely one to check that bucket list. In fact, there are places like this all across the United States for you guys to get out and stretch your legs and see a little something different. So today we're going on a scenic drive. Now this is approximately 6 miles long, and along the way there's some educational stops and signs, so I can't wait to share those with you. But for today, we are going to the Desert Foothills Scenic Drive. Now you can access this just outside of the Phoenix area, and we're about to have a lot of fun here. This goes from Carefree to Scottsdale. This is a super fun one because we can do it from the comfort of our van. You can do it from your car. In fact, I just went ahead and picked up a lunch, and we're gonna have lunch along the way. This is gonna be a great way to spend a little bit of time. Now before we take off, a couple small things. This is a little bit busier than I thought it would be to get onto the highway itself. It's a pretty busy road, and one of the things that I did find online is that they're trying to make sure that they protect and preserve this so there's less development that's happening along this highway. Now, as you know, most cities are expanding very rapidly. As I was just going through Cave Creek, it's a western nostalgic kind of area, and then you get to Carefree and it kind of starts shifting into more modern aesthetic. And then of course whenever we get to Scottsdale, you guys are probably familiar, Scottsdale is like the mecca for the who's who of the Phoenix area. So along this tiny little stretch, there's kind of a lot of encroaching that's starting to happen. So I wanted to do this video not only so you guys could see the beauty of the desert while it's fully in bloom right now, but also so we could find those little stops along the way and raise a little bit of awareness for the places that are around us that are starting to go away. That's why I always encourage you guys to get out there and explore the world around you, because one day it may not be here. Now, as we're driving, I think you can definitely see the urban development off to the left-hand side. But to the right-hand side, I've been seeing some little signs popping up along the way, and there's also a really interesting path that you can follow. So this is going to be a different kind of scenic drive, I think. And my first impressions are this is very urban. I can definitely see why they're trying to save it, because it's being fully encompassed by the city. And while there's some really nice walking paths still, it does make it much harder to use this as a scenic drive as of this point. I do have it pulled up on my map, and it says that I should be turning in 2.6 miles, so we'll hope that it gets better. But this is the unfortunate part of sometimes whenever you travel and you're looking for things, as you're seeing something on a map, it might look, oh yes, beautiful, but then you get here and this is just a very heavily trafficked road as of this point. Crossing my fingers that it gets a little bit better, because although there's beautiful flowers everywhere, it's very hard to pull off because the shoulders are kind of limited, and more realistically they are bike lanes, so you're not really supposed to park in them. However, I do see the signs off to the side, which makes me optimistic that we will find something soon. I'm just not sure. Well guys, we came to the end and we're starting in reverse. So we're starting from the Scottsdale side, because apparently this is the way you're supposed to go down the road to see the most. So this is the first sign that we're seeing. It says, please don't destroy desert plants. Now, a portion of this project was put into place to preserve the desert around, which is why it's so important that we rally to not encroach upon all of the nature, because not only does it displace entire ecosystems, but it also takes away some of the beauty that's along this roadway. Now, right ahead of us is actually the main stop along this, so I'm really excited. I can see it from here, and this is why we came here. This is what I saw online that I thought you guys would also like. It is a little strange to see it in reverse though, and just how busy this road is, because when you think of scenic highway, you think of people taking in the nature, enjoying themselves, but this seems to be also a commuter highway, which means that it looks kind of like this non-stop. So if you are wanting to come here, make sure that you come here and pull all the way off of the highway to see the various points so that you can be safe rather than sorry. I feel as though this won't be here much longer, so if you're interested in seeing this, make sure you come out sooner rather than later. Now as we pull off the highway, we find the main stop here. And I did have a little bit of joy whenever I saw that there's also an additional road here. So maybe that is a portion of the drive itself. It's kind of vague online about the details. So that's why I wanted to share this video with you guys so that we could make a difference by coming out and seeing sites like these. Now, if this turns into be a lengthy endeavor, now I will be so excited. But either way, I wanted to share the cool resources that they have at this stop with you guys. And that means a little look back into history. Now, in 1963, the Scottsdale Road had just been paved all the way to the town of Carefree in the stretch that we were just on. So at that time, it was a quiet 2-lane road through the mesquites and Palo Verdes, and then a half a dozen houses maybe were sprinkled in between. It was at that time that the residents of this area decided they wanted to have something special to talk about their road and share it with others so that they could see the beauty of all of the different natural things along the way. And so they created this scenic drive, and it's been here ever since. Now, originally this was going to be a non-commercial corridor, and that's why they wanted to do this. But over time, like I said at the beginning of the video, times have changed and the city has encroached around it until now this highway is a very busy thoroughfare. In fact, there are hundreds of people who go up and down this within every single hour of every single day now. And that's a very different look than it was back in the day. In fact, back in the day, they were saying that this was going to be something that was a protected space, that was going to be remote, that people from Phoenix proper would come out here and be able to enjoy this beautiful surrounding. But a lot of the scenes have changed as a result of them taking down some of the deserts. And while a lot of people might think, oh, it's dry, it's gross, there's nothing out there, a lot of things have happened as a result, including the watershed being disrupted and also the animals having to find new homes deeper in the desert. So again, we're going to look at these signs behind us to find out what we could see out here and then learn a little bit more, get some more brain wrinkles, and then go up this little road and figure out what's up there. Now, these are some of the sites that you can find along the way, along this little scenic road. The visitors exhibit, which is what we are at now. You have a great perspective of Lone Mountain and also the boulders, and then Black Mountain just beyond Carefree Highway. A little more information right here if you are interested in who is currently making this particular site possible and maintaining it. It has some interesting information about the improvement projects which began in 1994 and 1995. In addition, they do have a website, scenicdrive.org. You can check that out if you're interested. But let's go beyond this sign to that sign. Actually, before we do, let's check this out. This was on the back of the sign, and it talks a bit more about the Sonoran Desert and the climate and also the plant uses. Now, I think that this is really great because it talks a little bit more about the overall people who have lived here and the things that they have done. For example, right here it says for medicine, the jojoba plant was actually used as an antibiotic as well as a creosote brush, and they could use the woody skeletal ribs of a saguaro in order to construct things like shelters. We also learn about the overall climate here and how they have 2 rainy seasons. The first of which is summer from July to September, where they have monsoon season. Now that's the one that you see a lot of the washes filling up and flowing down, and it gets really dangerous during that time. However, winter, December through March, they actually have storms as well, which is what we're seeing a lot more of while I am currently visiting. Now, the other thing I think is interesting is it has the annual rainfall and then also the average temperatures. And on average, the temperatures were only 85.9 degrees. I think that's changed a little bit since the publication of this. In fact, that's another reason why I like to share these kinds of things with you. When this sign was created, that was the average. Now it is much warmer in this area. And as for the rainfall, they have just gone through a massive influx of rain because of the climate change that's going on in the world around us. We can see it in so many different places, and that's why we come to places like this, so we can get some brain wrinkles about what it should be versus what we're actually experiencing, and then we can see the actual shift when it comes to those things and really put it together that the world is a weird place. Now just beyond that, we actually have another sign that has two sides. This side shows all of the animals in this area, and this side shows all of the native plants. And then on each one of these signs, you can kind of get a little closer and learn a little bit more about what it looks like, and then also what its actual name is. So I think that this is really great because not only can we see this, but then we can have a reference whenever we go out and look at the desert in not only this place, but other places. For example, right here, the teddy bear cholla. They look soft and friendly, but beware, if you brush against them, they become painful human magnets. Or like this one, it's called a hedgehog. Like the animal, this small cactus is covered with 2-inch to 3-inch spines, and its fruit tastes like strawberries. In fact, on this one sign alone, there are 22 different kinds of plants that you will find, not only here around this area, but also across the desert. So this is a great educational stop that is absolutely free, guys. And then here we find out about javelina, mule deer, Sonoran desert toads, antelope jackrabbits, spiny lizards, Gila monsters, so many cool facts of everything that you might encounter. And let me tell you, when I was going down the road, I could see off to the side and there were little critters moving about. So with that said, we also have to be a bit more mindful of our surroundings while we're out here. But there's a few other things I want to show you guys before we get in the van and look at that little road. Similarly to the signs that we saw along the roadway, they have signs kind of scattered throughout telling you about what you're looking at. So the ironwood tree right in front of us is displayed and highlighted by this little brown sign. Now it also appears there are little trails kind of out here, but because it's so overgrown right now, we're not gonna do that. That's where snakes like to be, and we're just not gonna do that. In fact, today's a very warm day, so I know for a fact little sneaky snakes will be roaming around. So if you are coming out and you do choose to get out on some of the little trails, make sure you wear proper footwear. I would definitely encourage hiking boots and also potentially snake guards for out here because it is so narrow in so many places. But with that said, we're gonna go up this little road and see what we can find. I'm gonna share with you guys the perspective that I have, and then we'll talk about it. Doesn't look like there are any signs back here, but it sure is interesting, and I'm kind of enjoying just meandering through. Now the road is not super even, and there's actually a lot of different kinds of plants along the way that I kind of want to highlight for you guys. But first we got this big pothole to go through. Well, it's kind of a wash actually. So it looks like there aren't any signs down the little dirt roads, but it does give you a perspective of all of the plants that you've seen on the signs. Now, if it weren't overgrown, I would definitely take the little trail that shows you more of the individual signs for each individual plant. However, again, snakes, not a good idea. Always be safe rather than sorry, especially if you're traveling solo. As a solo female traveler, sometimes that means we just can't do something because we don't feel confident or comfortable with it, and that's okay. Getting out here and seeing what we can is the main thing. And again, I wanted to show you this because this is something that, even though it's been here since the 60s, is starting to get engulfed by the city around it. Natural spaces are things that we don't necessarily always value as time passes because of progress. And it's really important for us to get out and see them while they do exist, because treasures like this are a dying breed near cities especially. Now, Phoenix has tons of hiking around the area toward the outer rim of it, but this one was more centralized to interior areas, and so that's why I wanted to stop here. There are lots of parks and things like that that have little walking paths, but having a nature trail like this is something quite spectacular. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and finding places like this is definitely that. But for now, I brought a picnic, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into my picnic, and I'll see you guys on the next upload. Till next time guys, bye!